If you're looking for a new credit card, odds are you've probably gone online, Googled what are the best cards out there, and been met with a bunch of options that have outrageous annual fees. I mean, today, look, if you want to build the Amex Trifecta, that's going to cost you over $1,000, and for a lot of people, that is just not feasible. And I'm probably betting that the majority of people out there would rather have a card with no annual fee compared to a card with an annual fee. So today I have compiled a list of the 7 best no annual fee cards for the later half of 2024 as we head into 2025. But jumping right into things, card number 1 on today's list is going to be the Capital One Savor One credit card. And the reason I really like this credit card is because it offers a solid amount of cash back at some of the most common spend categories out there. With this card, you're going to have the opportunity to earn 5% cash back on your hotels and rental cars purchased through Capital One. You can also earn 3% cash back on your dining, entertainment, popular streaming services, and grocery purchases, as well as 1% cash back everywhere else. And I really do love that you have food covered with this credit card. A lot of no-fee cards will either have just groceries or probably just dining. So having both on one card is pretty fantastic. And just to show how much value you can get with this card with that food category alone, let's say that I spend $500 each month over the course of a year, I'd then have $180 cash back by simply using this no fee credit card. And similarly, for those streaming services, most people are gonna have one, if not multiple streaming services, whether it's Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, whatever it is, 3% back there is pretty solid. There's also a couple smaller points with this card that really stick out to me. Currently, you can earn 10% back on your Uber purchases, as well as have your Uber One membership paid for. That will be ending in November 2024. Our Capital One Savor One can also offer us 8% cash back on our Capital One booked entertainment. This is different than that 3% on all of our entertainment. Being able to earn 8% back by just going through their portal can add up to a lot of cash back. And this really just goes above and beyond for this credit card. Some other smaller things I think you should know: there's going to be no foreign transaction fees with this card. You're going to have an extended warranty, some travel services. There's a travel accident insurance, and you can get 50% off all handcrafted beverages at any Capital One cafe nationwide. And truthfully, I do think that this is one of the best no-fee cards out there entirely. If you are someone that doesn't want to carry tons of cards, this is a solid card to get you a lot of cash back at very common spend categories. Not to mention, if maybe down the road you do decide you want to get a travel card or have something else out there, there's a great duo here set up with one of the venture cards. Hands down, one of the best cards on the market. But let's say maybe instead of just earning 1% cash back on every other purchase, you want something that can give you a little bit more everywhere you go. This is going to bring us to card number 2, which is the Chase Freedom Unlimited. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, you probably know how highly I speak of this credit card. It's one of my most used credit cards in my own lineup, and I absolutely love it. With the card, you can get 5% cash back on your Chase purchase travel, 3% back on your dining and drugstore purchases, and 1.5% cash back everywhere else you spend. Now, I know that some of you are probably thinking 1.5% versus 1% is probably not a ton of cash back extra. You're right in a sense, but let's say I spend $20,000 over the course of the year and I use this card for all of that. That extra 0.5% can give me an extra $100 at the end of the year. I'll have $300 instead of $200. And another reason I like this card, that category for travel is super nice, that it covers all travel and not just rental cars and hotels. Like we saw with the Savor One and we'll see with other cards, it might just be for those two when airfare is probably the most expensive thing you'll be paying for if you are doing a lot of travel. So I think being able to earn that on a no-fee card is super special. And just to run through some smaller perks with the card, there's a zero liability protection, purchase protection, extended warranty protection, there's trip cancellation and interruption insurance on this card, there's an auto rental damage collision waiver, some extra travel perks. You can get 3 months free complimentary DoorDash Dash Pass, and then the next 9 months you can get half off. And you can also get 5% on all of your Lyft rides. Just like the Savor One, also establishing yourself with this card can set you up for long-term success if eventually you might want to get a card with a fee on it. The Chase Trifecta is a very well-known setup. Having this card is just a great way to build yourself there. You can combo it with other cards out there. And this is one of the cards I will have a sign-up link for in the description. If you are interested in it, please go use that link. It helps the channel. But now moving on to card number 3 on today's list, and it's going to be the newest card on the list today, being the Wells Fargo Attune credit card. Now, to understand the full value of this credit card, we really need to dive deep into their spending categories. They advertise 4% cash back in 3 main categories, being self-care, sports, recreation, and entertainment, as well as impactful purchases. Now, those are pretty unique, so you might be wondering, what exactly does that entail? So that self-care category might include beauty spas, salons, haircut places. You can get massage parlors. A lot of things focused on, well, self-care. Might include gym memberships and fitness studios as well. Your sports, recreation, and entertainment category, you can earn 4% cash back there on things focused on creating or collecting. It can include gardening and floral purchases, other recreation and leisure activities, pet care, sports and recreational equipment, sports and live entertainment purchases. Finally, there's streaming. You can get music, movies, or books to earn that 4% back. Then that brings us to our third category, those planet-friendly or impactful purchases. This can include antique stores or thrift stores. It can include bus lines, EV charging stations, commuter transportation, railways, and other transportation. Now, when I said that these categories were unique, I truly meant it, but being able to earn 4% back on so many different places, especially like that pet care, that's something you're not gonna see on any other card out there really, or those sports, recreation, and entertainment, really unique categories, really fits well to cover you on a lot of different places that pretty much no other card will cover you on. Some smaller notes about the card, you're gonna get a $600 cell phone protection with it. There's access to Mastercard services, a zero liability protection. There's an auto rental damage collision waiver, a concierge service, access to Wells Fargo deals. There's so much here. Similar to other cards we saw, getting this card can help you set yourself up for the future if you do decide to pick up a card with a fee or even without a fee for travel. Wells Fargo is building up their system with the autograph cards. One has no fee, one has a $95 fee. That can let you transfer out points to use it for travel later down the road. I really like the Attune as it's unique. It's got a great amount of cashback options and it can set yourself up for your future. And this seamless transition brings us to our fourth card on the list today, which is going to be the Wells Fargo autograph card. Now there's the autograph card and the autograph journey. Focusing on the autograph card, that's our no fee one, fitting with today's theme. But the autograph journey is a $95 option. That will be a little bit different. Go check out my video on that if you want a little bit more eventually. And why the Wells Fargo autograph is great, it can give you access to Wells Fargo transfer partners for travel down the road. And you can pair it up with our Attune and the Wells Fargo Active Cash, which is a catch-all 2% card, also with no fee. Now, just a disclaimer, Wells Fargo is newer to the transfer partner game. They only have 6 partners currently, 5 airlines, 1 hotel. Compared to things like Capital One, Chase, Amex, Citi, they're way behind, but I definitely say if you're watching this video later on, see what they've added, see what they're doing to continue to improve their system, as I guarantee you in the next year or two, they're gonna be right up there competing with these other companies. But what I really do like about this card, aside from the access to the transfer partners, are the spending categories. This is gonna include 3 times points on your dining, all of your travel purchases, 3 times on your gas, transit, popular streaming services, and cell phone plans. You can earn 1 times points everywhere else with the card, but just a quick note about that travel category. Yes, we've seen 5 times or 5% back on some of our other cards we've talked about, but Wells Fargo does not limit you to book travel through them to earn that back. With Chase, we saw for that 5% back, you have to book it through their Chase portal. Same thing with the Capital One Savor One, has to be through their portal. With Wells Fargo though, if you see a deal that's better somewhere else, you can still lock up 3 times points back, and once again, no fee on this card. And hands down, those are some of the best spending categories you will find on one card with no fee. There's also going to be a $600 cell phone protection. There's an auto rental damage collision waiver, zero liability protection, access to Wells Fargo deals, emergency travel services, and no foreign transaction fees. Now moving on to card number 5 for today's list. This is going to be the Bilt Mastercard, which is the only credit card out there that will allow you to earn cash back on your rent with no extra transaction fees. Now, this is another card that I personally do carry, so I am a little biased towards it. I really like this card. I don't necessarily use it a lot for my day-to-day as the spending categories aren't the best, but being able to earn cash back on your rent for no fee is pretty awesome. Just to highlight those spending categories, you can earn 3 times points back on your dining, 2 times points back on all of your travel, does not need to be purchased through Bilt, then 1 times points everywhere else you spend, as well as 1 times points back on your rent. And although you won't be swimming in a pool of all your points you're going to be earning with this card, as 1 times points back on your rent truly is not a ton. It's just extra cash back though for something that you have to pay for that you normally wouldn't get cash back for. Some other key points about this card: there's a rent day celebration at the start of each month on the 1st, where you can earn double the points in every category except for your rent. So I really like this because if you know you're making a trip in some time in the future, wait to book it until the 1st. You can earn double the points there, go out to eat on the 1st instead of on another day, earn double the points there, or use it to earn 2 times wherever you go on that day. The actual user experience is awesome. There's a special game that lets you potentially earn free rent each month. They have offers for great ways to use your points for art, special sporting events, just things that you don't see in the other systems. And in terms of the points that you'll be earning with this credit card, they are actually amongst the highest out there. Some people have it above or right with Amex and Chase. So for a no-fee card to be that competitive with these big dog systems out there, I really like this. Included with this card are some other benefits as well, like a trip cancellation and interruption insurance, an auto rental damage collision waiver, there's no foreign transaction fees, there's Lyft credits, there's a cell phone protection on this card, there's purchase security. Also with the card, you're not gonna have to worry about your utilization rate, as they have Bilt Protect, which will take money straight out of your account, almost like a debit card, but still give you credit on that for your actual points. Also, a huge point about this card that I love is that you have access to transfer partners with 17 total ones. And Bilt truly has some of the best partners out there. I know Wells Fargo is quite limited as they are newer to the game, but getting a no-fee card like Bilt, you have great transfer partners, great point value. The one note I will make: if you do go to get this card, you will have to use it 5 times each billing cycle. That means you can't just get it and only use it for rent. You're gonna need to use it 4 other times. Not a huge inconvenience, just make sure you use it 5 times, otherwise you won't get credit for the points. Overall, I love this card. It's super simple to use. It's gotten me a lot of points back in the past year or so. And if you are interested in getting it, I'll have a sign up link for this card as well in the description. But now jumping over to our 6th card on today's list, and in my opinion, the best flex and utility credit card, it is gonna be the Citi Custom Cash. And let me get right to it. The Custom Cash can earn you 5% cash back at your highest spend category every single month. Now, this will be limited to the first $500 spent on that category, and you're gonna earn 1% on every dollar other than that, as well as 1% everywhere else you spend with the card. But I do think that there's a ton of value in here, and I love that you can change your category each billing cycle. Now, I personally do not carry this card, but if I did, this is how I'd use it. I would take the start of the month and say, I'm gonna use my custom cash for this category that my other cards don't give me extra cash back in. This could be, say, gas. I can lock up 5% back on gas everywhere I go, no questions about it. But let's say all of a sudden, one month I know I have a big planned purchase coming up for a new TV that's gonna cost me $450 or even more. Well, I can designate this card for that month, stop using it on gas, go back to using one of my other cards there, and I'll use this custom cash on that new purchase to lock up 5% there. Then once that billing cycle is over, assuming I don't have another big purchase, go right back to using it on your gas or whatever category you'd like to use it on. What I would not recommend doing is using it as a everyday, every single purchase card. I don't think you're gonna get as much value if I use it for gas, groceries, dining. Yes, you'll get 5% on whatever the highest category is, but your other ones you're just gonna get 1% on. I'd rather you use it for one category and just go get a card like the Chase Premium Unlimited or the Citi Double Cash to lock up more elevated cash back. Then some smaller points about the card: there's a MasterCard ID theft protection, $0 liability. You're gonna have access to Citi Entertainment for some exclusive offers, and maybe not as much packed in this card in terms of those other smaller details, but I still think that if you use this card right, it has the opportunity to be one of the best cards out there. But if it's not used properly, it's probably not the best card for you. But this is gonna bring us to our 7th and final credit card on today's list, which is gonna be the Discover It Cashback credit card. And similar to the Citi Custom Cash, this is one of the best flex and utility cards out there. I personally don't think I'd use it as my everyday card, but if you do use it properly, there's some great opportunities to earn. So the way that this card works, you can earn 5% cash back on a rotating category depending on the quarter of the year. Quarter 1's gonna be something else, quarter 2 is something different, quarter 3, quarter 4. Depending on what the category is, 5% there, 1% elsewhere. And just to show some examples of what this may be, quarter 1 was for restaurants and drugstores. Quarter 2 was for gas stations, EV charging, home improvement stores, as well as public transit. And currently in quarter 3, the category is for grocery stores and Walmart. So depending on the category, you can lock up a lot of cash back with that 5% back. If I spend pretty much only at Walmart, when that category hits there, I'm getting a ton of cash back. Only downside is when it's not on that category, I'm only going to be limited to just 1%. Another huge thing about this card, for your entire first year, Discover will match you on every single dollar of cash back you earn, which essentially means instead of 5% during that first year, you're getting 10% on all those categories. 1% goes to 2%. So really I have a 10% card and a 2% everywhere else for the entire first year. Now the card's also going to have some online privacy protections, social security alerts, card freezes, and a $0 fraud liability. Now Discover does not offer a ton in the travel realm, and you really aren't setting yourself up for a known or big trifecta later down the road if you want to pool all your points. That aside though, there's a ton of cashback opportunities here, especially if that is your goal. And just to mention, there's another card very similar to it, just in the Chase ecosystem, that's the Chase Freedom Flex. I didn't mention that, I just wanted to give you more variety with the Discover card, but be sure to check out the Freedom Flex as well if you're interested in that. But hands down, all 7 of these cards on today's list are guaranteed to bring some value to your wallet. Whatever you go with, if it's the Bilt card, you're now going to be getting points on your rent. If it's the quarterly categories card with the Discover one, you're going to get some more cash back there. So much versatility and variety with these cards today. Let me know which one's your favorite and which ones you already carry. If you guys could also go hit like, and if you did get something out of today's video, consider subscribing. It really helps me grow the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate you all watching. I'll see you in the next video.